Hi everyone, Anthony Morganti here. Today's video is on Topaz Labs Studio 2. Surprisingly, I've never done a video on this application, so it's well past time for me to cover it. Now, for those of you not familiar with Studio 2, perhaps you're familiar with NIC's Color Effects Pro 2, or maybe you're familiar with an older version of Luminar, specifically Luminar 4. Those applications allowed you to process your images vis-a-vis filters. If you look at Studio 2's workspace, you'll see in the top right-hand corner, there is an Add Filter button. You would use these filters to process your images. And you can see that there are filters in 3 different categories: Essential, Creative, and Stylistic. There is a 4th category, Plugin, but if you don't own these plugins, or you don't own this product, they won't show up here. So mainly your filters will be in these 3 different categories. Also, if you prefer to use presets, Studio 2 has something they call looks. You can see there's an Add Look button. These are presets. And I was surprised to find there are hundreds of looks or presets in Studio 2. Now today I'm not going to be using any of the looks. Instead, I'm going to process this image using the filters. And as you look at the image, by the way, it is a unprocessed Nikon RAW file. You can see that it's a little bit crooked, and I do want to crop it a little bit as well. In the lower left-hand corner, there are 2 tools. There's the crop tool and the heal tool. If this image hits censor spots or something in the image I wanted to get rid of, I would use the heal tool, and you could see you could do that vis-a-vis 2 different brushes, the heal brush and the recover brush. Now, as I mentioned, I'm not going to be using that today, but I do want to crop it. So I'm going to go to the crop tool, and you can see you get the typical rule of thirds crop overlay. It is a little crooked. I could straighten it with the straighten slider, or I could just come off the image to the right a little bit, and you can see the cursor turns into this double arrow thing, and I could just click with the left mouse button, and in this case drag down to just straighten it. Now, as far as my composition is concerned, I did an okay job. I have the lighthouse on the rule of thirds line, but there's just too much water in front of it, so I do want to take care of that. Now what I want to do is go to the aspect ratio, and I want to make sure I'm using the original aspect ratio. I want to keep that 2:3. So I'm going to pull this up, get rid of some of that water. I also want this rule of thirds line right on the horizon line. You can see I have it, but I am going to reposition it so the lighthouse is on that vertical rule of thirds line. So to me, that's a good crop. I'm going to click apply. It takes a second to render, and there it is. All right, now let's do some editing on it. I'm going to go to Add Filter, and what I found is the filters are more or less in the order that you might use them. You don't have to use them in this order. You could use them in any order you like, but typically it is recommended that you remove noise from your image as early as possible in your workflow. And you can see the very first filter in the essential category is AI Clear. For those of you that own Denoise AI, recognize this. This is one of the AI models in Denoise AI. There's also a reduce noise filter down here towards the bottom, but I'm going to stay with the AI Clear and just click on it. And it is set to auto right now, so it's just automatically removing noise. You can see progress bar at the top. And to tell you the truth, this was shot at ISO 64, so there really isn't any discernible noise in it, but I did want to mention that you should probably remove noise early in your workflow, and if you do, AI Clear is available. Now I'm done with this filter. I'm just going to click the X. The X doesn't delete it, it just closes the panel. Now you can see how this is laid out in this kind of layers panel here. We have the original unprocessed RAW file at the bottom, and I just added the AI Clear filter to it. All subsequent filters will be stacked on top. So we'll go to Add Filter, and the next one is Basic Adjustment. We'll go to that. You can see that we have typical adjustments, right? Exposure, clarity, shadow, highlights, blacks, whites. Then we have saturation down here. You also could do a wall to white balance. What I've found is that works sometimes, doesn't work other times, but I'm happy with the white balance here. I'm not even going to bother. Now, playing with Studio 2, I found, at least for me, that I get a better edit if I move the clarity slider first. Now that's unique to Studio 2. Like if I'm using Lightroom, I don't move clarity first. But I found that if I move clarity first, it affects contrast quite a bit. And it'll allow me then to get a better adjustment with the shadows, highlights, whites, and blacks. So I'll move that clarity slider. Then I'll go to the shadows, and I want to open those up just a little bit. And I'll go to highlights and bring those down just a little bit. Now, I need to get a black and white point. I can, of course, just move the sliders, but what I found, and works pretty well, are these eyedroppers. I'll click on the black level eyedropper, and my cursor turns into a plus sign. Now I need to click on something in the image that should be absolute black. I think probably this part of the lighthouse right here. So I'll click on it, and you can see it did a minor black level adjustment. It brought it down to minus 0.06. So that's a black point. Now similarly, I'll do the white level by clicking on that eyedropper. I get that plus sign again. And in my experience with this application, you may think that I should just click on the whitest cloud, like right here. And what I found is clicking on clouds doesn't always seem to give me a good white point or white level point. I'll click on that, and you can see that's much too bright. Now you can see it's still active. I could click somewhere else. What I found for the white level, click on something in the image that actually is white, not necessarily a cloud, like this kind of bell thing here. I'll click on this, and that gave me a better white point. So that's my white and black level. Now I'm not going to do anything with saturation. There is saturation available in another filter. Let's go up to Add Filter. You don't have to close this to add another filter, by the way. You could go here, and there is a brightness contrast filter. Let's open that, and you can see that it automatically closed the basic adjustment filter. And here we have this brightness contrast filter, and there is a saturation slider there. So I'll tweak that up. Maybe I'll make it just a little brighter and add a bit more contrast. Oops. Some of these sliders are really heavy-handed. You can see how that contrast slider really is heavy. Now to reset a slider, you could double-click right on the slider like knob, or double-click on the name of the slider, and you'll reset it. So you got to really have a sensitive hand with some of these sliders. So I'm done with the brightness contrast filter. Let's go on. Beyond that, we have a black and white filter. I'm not going to convert this to black and white, but if I did, I would use that. Curves doesn't need it. Dehaze, I don't need to remove any haze. HSL color tuning, I like to use this filter. Now you can see that it's your typical kind of HSL filter. It does have a overall swatch as well. So right now, if I am set on that, if I move any of these sliders, I'm adjusting all the colors. But you can target individual colors. If I click on red, this would target red. Now let me just hover over orange, and I want you to look at the lighthouse when I do that. I'm going to hover. You can see that kind of checkered red checker thing or slanted lines that go on that. That's telling me that that color is targeting this, specifically the lighthouse and some of these rocks here, if I hover over it. Now, to prove it, I'll go to lightness and watch. I'll move it up, and you can see how those rocks and the lighthouse are getting brighter. So you can know exactly what these colors target. I kind of like that. I'm going to probably add a little saturation. Maybe I want to make the lighthouse a little brighter. I want it more noticeable in the image. So then we'll go on. We'll go to yellow. And again, if I hover over it, you can see what it's affecting, mainly the lighthouse, these clouds in the back, and a little bit of the grasses. Again, I'll make that a little brighter. Maybe add a little saturation there. And then we could go on. Green, I want to make the grass a little brighter. You can see it's affecting that grass. It's affecting some of the greener water up in here. It's also affecting part of the sky back in here. So a little brighter, not much, just a little. Again, if you go too far, it overdoes it. And you could go through each of the different colors. Here's aqua, that of course affecting the water over here. There's blue. I could try to make the sky a little darker. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And so on. And you can see all the colors that I actually did adjustments to will have this little line under them. So that's telling me I adjusted those colors. And the ones that don't have a line, obviously I didn't adjust those. So I'm done with HSL color toning. Like that. Now we'll go to Add Filter again. And moving on is precision contrast. I don't think this image needs it, but I am going to show you this. This is kind of cool. You have this micro contrast where you could affect very specific parts of the image. In this case, it's those clouds mainly. Then you have low. pretty much the entire image. Medium, high. Here's the cool part, lighting. If you need to brighten your shadows, midtones, highlights, or darken them, you could go and target them. So here are the shadows. I can make the shadows brighter or darker, and midtones as well, and highlights, obviously. And then how much do you want it to? Here, let's do this. Let's move shadows way up. Equalization, basically how strong of an effect do you want? Right now it's on medium. If I go to low, you can see it's not as strong. If I go to high, it's very strong. So something like that. So let's just leave that filter the way it is. So we're done with that. And then like once I close it down, if you want to delete any of these filters like this, if I hover over precision contrast, you see there's a little trash can there. I could delete that layer. I also could turn off that layer with that disable effect. Also, if I want to mask the layer out from part of the image or mask it into a part of the image, it does have a mask available. So I could use the mask as well. Maybe in a future video, I'll cover that. And by the way, let me know in the comment section below if you want me to do more videos on Studio 2. I'd be happy to if you want me to. Let's go to Add Filter, and I'm pretty much done. You could go to Precision Detail as well. Just let me show you that. And that's similar to the Precision Contrast. You have Detail Boost, Medium, Small, Medium, and Large, and the lighting, and so on. Now this one I'm not going to keep, so I'll close it down and I'll go up and I'll click that little trash can. Let's go to Add Filter. Now I didn't touch any of the creatives or anything, but let's, there's different things you could do. Focal blur, motion blurs, quad tone. You could add text to the image. You could add a vignette to the image. You could add down here in stylistic a digital frame to the image, and so on. Now this is kind of just a straight edit of this scene. So let me add a vignette. And you can see it automatically added a vignette. It has a setting done already. I'm just going to back it off a little bit. You could change your vignette color. You could change where your vignette is centered. You can see that. You have to wait for it to render. You can see that bar going across the top. You could just center with this, and just click where you want it centered. Something like that. In this case here, let's just set it right there. You also could reset the whole filter by just clicking on that reset kind of button right there. And just back it off a little bit. All right, so there's the vignette. We're done with that. Now when you're done, I really don't like the edit I did on this. Too much talking, not enough thinking. But when you're done and you're happy with it, you have two different things you could do. You could save it as like a as is. So let's say, so I could come back in and re-edit this is what I'm trying to say. We go up to File, Save Project. And you could give it a name. I'll save it to my desktop and I go my lousy picture. Okay. And also you could, if you have a Mac, you just click there and you could see where you're saving it to your desktop. All right. So then it will save it. Now I could reopen it and all these filters will be there and I could continue my editing or re-edit anything that needs to be re-edited. Now, if I want to share it with the world, I would go up to File and down to Export. And you could save it as 3 different file types. Even though it's showing 5 different file types, it's really JPEG, TIFF, and PNG. You just have various spellings of JPEG and TIFF. So most often probably be a JPEG, right? And you have the quality slider. The lower the quality, it will be compressed more, so it'll be a smaller image, but it may not be as resolute. And color profile, you have ProPhoto RGB, sRGB, Adobe RGB, Apple RGB, wide gamut RGB. Obviously, if you have a PC, you won't have Apple RGB there. Let's just save it sRGB as this and click Export. And that's it. That's how you do it. That's how you work on this. And just to show you very quick, I didn't touch over here. There is a histogram. If you click on it, it just appears right here. There's not really much you could do with it. You could, not do much. There is a navigator window as well, and not a lot you could do there unless you are zoomed in. Then you could see that we have a little rectangle here, and we could go, let's say, to the top of the lighthouse or something like that. Again, you could just click on Fit, and it will fit it to screen. If you go here, Fill, what it will do is it will bring the sides all the way to the edges. So it basically is zoomed way in. Oh, that's original. Didn't want that. I want here. There we go. So we go back to fit. Also, if you want to see your original image, let's get rid of the navigator. You can just click on the image. You can zoom in if you want, and you see original. And if you go to view here, you can see single view, split horizontal, split vertical. There's before afters basically, side by side horizontal. And you can see that one zoomed in for some reason because I probably didn't do something right, or because of the crop, I think. So yeah, the crop. So that's that. We'll go back to the single view and fit, and we're all set. So there is our edited images, and that is Topaz Labs Studio 2. Again, if you want me to do more videos on this, let me know in the comments below. Thank you, everyone who watches my videos. I really do appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon.